All right. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Monday. Get fired up. Let's get it moving. Well, let's at least drag ourselves out of bed and do what we got to do, right? Let me get my view here. Having to change my view up a little bit. So sorry if I challenge your viewing pleasure. Having to bring everything onto one screen based upon some technical challenges I have. So you guys can read the chat that I see, that you see, but it's only I can see the side chat at the same time with the screen. So please bear with me. Well, using the flat rock method of weather forecasting, I can tell you it's raining here. And the radar also says it's raining here. So I guess we're both right. But it stayed away from us most of the weekend. It was kind of touch and go, a couple sprinkles, but this morning's definitely wet. How everybody out there doing? It's like we got storms continuing across, well, it looks like all of Illinois. So Walker and the rest of you Illinois guys going to be in for a wet day moving into Indiana too, I'm sure. But I hope everybody had a good weekend, stayed out of trouble. Like Nina down at Southern Arc Homestead, she had a pretty rough weekend. Her video she did last night, she definitely worked herself to the bones. We all have to do a little bit of that usually, but she was pretty tuckered out, it looked like. But hopefully you can get some rest during the week, right? I don't think that's the way it works. Not usually for most of us. So we'll give it a minute here for people to pop in, check in on us, see what's going on. It's like Angel's getting rain down in Florida. Florida's got a pretty good amount. It's like it's a whole front moving just right up through here. They had some pretty severe flooding back home in the mountains back there, North Carolina. There was some severe flooding over the weekend, and I would imagine other places up and down the Appalachians there. Yeah, third option. You can pretty much tell if I don't think this is going to jump over you, right? Good morning. How you doing? What brings you to our neck of the woods? Walter Davis, good morning. I got a news article about you, Walter. Yeah, but it looks like there's your weather as of now, this minute snapshot. Didn't see any major stories. The Hawaii lava situation continues. Some fella got hit by a lava bomb on his front porch. I'm not exactly sure what a lava bomb is, but I believe it was something to the effect of the lava hit the water and ejected itself across a distance of miles and landed on this fella. I think he survived, but he was in bad shape. So that was surprising. But moving on, since we got your attention, Walter, I just want to let you know you're my favorite YouTube friend, all right? Because I know that, Walter, you're the guy that won the Powerball, right? Somebody in New Jersey bought a Powerball ticket, won $315 million. So, Walter, just saying, you're my favorite guy. Watch, it's probably somebody else I know on YouTube. What could be the odds? Hey, right brain prep, what's going on? You're going to be getting some of that good rainfall to help your crops, help that garden out soon, it looks like, with you and M Long. Yeah, it's like that, Walter, when somebody wins the Powerball, the lottery, it's like their third cousin twice removed starts showing up at their front door going, remember me? Imagine all the prepping you could do with, looks like they're going to get about 183 million if they take it up front. Imagine all the prepping you could do with $183 million. I was talking about bunkers the other day, like you could have a bunker on wheels or something. But that's your feel-good story for the day. Just wish it was you, right? All right. Hey, yeah, whenever you check in, third option, let us know. Hey, it's all, most of these morning chats are all just current events, third. You're not missing anything. Just start with the current one and work your way forward. So there were elections in last night or this weekend. And guess who won? We've been covering the lead up to this with the military abandoning their post and all the convoy ambushes and everything else. It was a pretty bad spot. We saw that prison riot where the American was putting a plea out for his life, which I didn't see a follow-up on that. But Maduro claims victory out of the election last night. This is following up on a Bloomberg article, or quoting it. His challenger won about 21% of the votes, and there was a 48% turnout. So their turnout's roughly about the same as ours, if not better than ours. 48% of eligible voters. Shoot, we don't even hit that half the time. Of course, we're not offering food and basic survival as a reason for voting. We just offer people free iPhones and stuff. This needs to shut up. Hey, good morning, Scotsman. How's it going? Black Cat Outdoors, how you doing? Good morning. So Maduro has said he has won. Obviously, sanctions are looming over the top of their head here. And everybody is just calling it out as illegitimate. It's funny. This is something Beijing, the foreign minister out of Beijing, said the Venezuelan people should be left to handle their own affairs and that everyone should respect the people's choice. Sounds like something you'd hear out of Washington, D.C. Maduro described accusation of forced voting as an insult to the people. Yeah, that would be if it didn't seem true, but only stories from the ground, I think, could prove out the facts there. We rely so much on propaganda, it seems like, to determine what we understand about this situation, but so to give you some economic impacts that they're experiencing down there, falling oil prices and etc. on a Washington conspiracy against his government. They're referencing back to the Zero Hedge article we talked about last week. Venezuela's failures aren't due to prices, they're a fault of socialism. Their available goods must be affordable to potential buyers. Venezuelans need approximately $150 per month to purchase a dozen eggs. That's just for, you talk about a good time to raise some, have chickens in your backyard. Yeah, that would be a good time. The average monthly income is $2.20, with a tiny stipend of government would call basic income. You know, all the language you hear come out of all these states about providing basic income to people. That's what they're talking about. A tiny stipend of government welfare. Because once the inflation hits, that's all it adds up to. Doesn't matter the dollar amount. It just depends on what you're trying to buy. Costs more. No centrally run government has ever been able to create and produce efficiently. Yeah. And America's been trying to go down that road for years. So again, breaking down the economics here, they say many of Venezuela's shortages have been created by price controls, a popular socialist tactic. You know, like minimum wage laws and your internet provider because of net neutrality, et cetera, et cetera. When the government determines prices instead of market forces, prices become artificially low. This creates a greater demand for the product than the seller can deliver at any kind of profit. The seller is losing money with each sale. The results are the empty Venezuelan supermarket shelves. That evil profit motive that the socialists always bemoan. You either get scarcity or you get profit. Which one do you want? Yeah, Walter Wright. Castro was a good dictator. He knew how to do it right? 100% turnout, 100% of the vote. That's the way you roll, right? I guess the graph here is Venezuelan bonds are tumbling. So a Latin American economist here quotes, "A messy debt default and restructuring is now inevitable. Debt repayments after July looks extremely challenging." Solutions to economic humanitarian assistance crises are unlikely to be forthcoming, while escalation of U.S. sanctions seem inevitable. So there you go. There's your Venezuela update. We'll see how it looks when the rest of the military leaves and the police forces quit and food convoys get run off the road more. So cities are isolated. So, oh wait, wrong article. Another Reuters article is out. This is in your links below as well for reference. So more just reporting on the election itself. Chile's president spoke out saying Venezuelans' elections do not meet minimum standards of true democracy. Who wants true democracy? People have been fooled into true democracy. Chile does not recognize these elections. So there you go. There's one of their neighbors. Panama's government followed suit, quickly saying it did not recognize the result. Fellow leftist countries Cuba and El Salvador sent congratulations. Well, there you go. It's kind of how it works out. Does the Sandinistas run El Salvador? It's funny how you hear about all that through the 80s and the whole communist thing with El Salvador, and well, that was Nicaragua too. But anyway, we did all that intervention and what came of it. So just has some of the stats down here towards the bottom. So that's just another reference for you if you wanted to look into it. A Reuters article there on the Venezuela re-election. Walsh says Venezuela's the bottom's falling out because they ran out of pets to eat. Well, we're talking about that one chat. It has been a while back. We are talking about the big rat they basically eat down in South America. The chuka, not the chupacabra, but the I can't remember the name of it. It starts with the C though. Koopa or something like that. But yeah, they've been eating. But it's a delicacy down there. They've been eating. They ranch those things. We looked that up. Like if you're ranching rats right now, you'd be set. Barry, eating our pets is pretty sad thought. Yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to eat their pets, Barry. It's, that's interesting. You bring that up. There was a story I didn't pull up. There's a story on link on Drudge though about the dog meat market in Southeast Asia, and in particular, they pulled up, I think, Thailand. I'll just go to the link just because you brought it up. People were, it's Indonesia's dog meat market. Um, People in other sides of the world been eating dog for centuries, and people trying to get on their business. It's like, go to Korea, see how you feel about people eating dog. But it's like horse in France and everything else. Like Americans have this skewed sense, I guess. Kind of like certain parts of the world don't eat pig because pig's a filthy animal, even though bacon tastes good. Chupacabra probably is delicious. Third option. You're probably correct. I guess the whole eating your pets thing is kind of one of those clash of cultures. Some places they eat dog. You know, there's some neighborhoods in America where they eat dogs still. So, um, I guess one don't knock it till you try it, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't go out of my way. But yeah. Okay, moving on. The FBI and CIA. This is at a zero hedge. Speaking of, well, how else can you justify your existence unless the FBI and CIA keep the Cold War going to protect themselves? Interesting thought pattern here. I thought we'd check out. It only makes logical sense, right? It's the whole military-industrial complex train of thought that pad your pocket, expand your power, restart that Cold War, see how things go. So this is based on an article out of townhall.com talking about how the Obama administration, with 3 weeks remaining in his term, issued harsh sanction against Russia over supposed election interference. That's when we closed those 2 compounds in Russia, and 35 diplomats were ordered to leave the country. And shortly thereafter, too, the UK did so, and other countries in Europe, and there was this big falling out, supposedly, or whatnot. 2 years since then, we have learned that the intelligence that formed the basis for the sanctions was beyond dubious. Yes, it was very suspect. How can I get this over? A single unverified dossier compiled by an ex-British spy with no discernible connections to Russia was shopped to FISA judges and the media as something real. So yeah, go back to how the whole thing started. It's just bizarre how this whole thing got down to where we are with this whole sideshow Bob Mueller thing, and we're down the road this far on this thing. The FBI and CIA thumbed the eye of an armed nuclear state based on false intelligence. Well, the question is why? Why indeed? Other than justify their own existence, right? The answer here, they suppose, is now obvious. To cover up their own election year shenanigans they thought would remain forever hidden in the inevitable Hillary Clinton victory. Is that true? So it goes into those past DNC activities, some of the stuff you've heard already. Go on down. The FBI never bothered to test the computers for a hack. The task was left to a private contractor and a Russian expatriate. It's funded by a Ukrainian billionaire. What are the odds? I wonder how much. He's a $10 million donor to the Clinton Foundation. I wonder how much of that EU money he was promised for the Ukraine to go into the EU's bailout program. Back, what are we working on? Working on 5 years. 5 years ago, the EU Central Bank tried to undermine Ukraine, and that's how that whole Ukrainian thing started. And everybody wanted to blame Russia. The fix was in. CrowdStrike dutifully reported that the Russians were behind the hack. I see, yeah. Oh, the tangled webs. Why? I mean, yeah. To ask for anything less than the dissolution of the FBI and CIA would be a misservice, would be an injustice right now. They both must be destroyed. They're undermining America's sovereignty as like they do everybody else's sovereignty. It's about the bottom line. Talks about Trump winning anyway. By December 2016, the FBI and CIA needed something to justify their illegal wiretaps and spying. If not the quid, they at least needed the pro quo, an event that could be portrayed through a hard squint as collusion. Yeah, you squint, you kind of see things a little blurry, but you kind of like can see one thing. Yeah, that kind of squint. No, Walter, I think you have to put Mueller in jail. I don't know if any of these people get off scot-free like that. A fine doesn't do it justice. There you go, right brain prep. It's like it's a big show because if it's not a big show, if it's legit, these people all need to go in prison. Like you clean house. But if they just get little slaps on the wrist, like you were saying, Walter, and everybody walks away from this and everybody just continues on their daily after after the stuff that's come out, it's a big show. It's just they're playing off each other as we've supposed for a long time that the left just plays off the right and both advance big government. Because what's the next solution? Well, who's going to watch the FBI and the CIA? Well, Congress has always had the oversight of them, but nobody ever does anything. And then it keeps going down the road. Well, we'll get another system program agency to watch over the watchmen. Yeah, that's not going to work. Anything short of dissolution is injustice, in my opinion. But, I'm the psycho here. Maybe that's why y'all are here listening. You don't want to say it yourself. It's better for me to say it than you to get involved, right? Now, I know some of you have said similar things yourselves. Yeah, how you could get Congress to agree to any funding to go to these agencies anymore is even bizarre. They don't get hard questions. They don't get the tough look at. So they conclude here, one person has a constitutional responsibility to end this nonsense. That's the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who they say who himself was duped into recusing himself by since discredited intelligence, should bow to recent disclosures of impropriety and say enough is enough. His Inspector General will be issuing a report to him sometime soon. Maybe then he will lift his veil of reclusal and start the prosecutions. People should go to jail for this. All of them should go to jail for this. Yeah, we'll see how far that gets. Can you imagine? I don't think anybody up there wants to be the one that was known for shutting down the FBI and CIA, even as even as a just cause as it is. I mean, can you imagine me black accounts the CIA operates that even if we shut them down from the side of standpoint of Congress and Langley and shutting those places down, they could still work overseas probably for years on their black budgets, and nobody would know the difference between drug dealing and everything else. But that's just a hypothetical, of course. We can't prove it. At least not. I can't physically pull up a bank account and prove it. So that's what I pulled up for the day, folks. Anybody else got anything out there going on? I guess our China sanctions are kind of easing up a little bit. The Dow's up 300 before pre-market, and now I think the market's full run. So everybody's happy that there's not going to be sanctions, or they're not quite as bad, and the trade issues are supposedly going away, and etc. The bond market, is that going to refresh on me or not? Maybe it's just going to freeze up on me. But while we laugh at Venezuela for their economic crisis looming ahead, we're digging the same hole here. So you can't really laugh too hard at them. Oh, that's interesting. Oil stays above $70. I think we're going to run up to 80. We'll see. And bonds are inching up still. Watching that continuing yield curve, as they call it, as the 10-year and the 30-year get closer and closer together. And the insanity continues. But I hope you guys go out and have a good Monday. Thanks for checking in. Doesn't look like anybody has anything else they want to bring up in the side chat, except for it's raining where you are. If we start back at the beginning. Yep. As we said, we expect rain lots of places out there in the Midwest, and east places east. And I'm sorry you didn't win the lottery, Walter, but you could be the third cousin of somebody that did. Maybe you get a little scratch. That'd be fine with everybody, right? All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for coming out. Yep, Scotsman, have a good day. All you go out and do that hard work thing that you do. Live free.